Welcome back, everyone, and this time round we're going to be talking a little bit about the Eleusinian Mysteries, aren't we? Can you, for those who are not familiar with the Eleusinian Mysteries, can you give us a brief overview of those, Peter?
Yeah, Eleusinian takes its name from Eleusis, which is a port in Greece, which is connected to Athens. And the mysteries, the Dionysian mysteries, were practiced there. But because of the place, Eleusis, they came to be called the Eleusinian Mysteries.
They were very, very well known in the ancient world, weren't they?
They were. They were at sort of the Greek time, and the Dionysian mysteries started in the Thracian time.
Yeah.
And Thracia then included the land which later became Greece.
Yes.
And in fact, the land all the way around the Aegean, including what's now we called Asia Minor, that part of Turkey that's close to the Aegean, and that was Thracia really, whole Aegean area, Bulgarian, Yugoslavia, and so on top. Anyway, the Greek culture came later, and they carried on the Dionysian or Orphic mysteries. And their main centre for it was Eleusis and Athens. But Eleusis is where all the preparatory initiations took place, associated with the goddess and so on, who gives birth to the child.
Yeah.
And so they became known as the Eleusinian Mysteries for that reason.
Yes.
But otherwise they're the same as the Dionysian ones.
Which I think that's the really important point, is people think of these as being separate sorts of mystery schools or mysteries, but then they're not. The same impulse is flowing through all of them, isn't it?
Yeah, and each place adapts them a little bit, and of course as language changes, they change language, and so on.
Yeah.
But still essentially the same teaching,
Yes.
same history. The only thing it did change major, instead of having the bull, they had the boar.
Right.
The pig,
Pig. Yes.
So that was the symbol on coins of Eleusis. That was the symbol of the mystery.
Is there a reason why it changed from a bull to a boar that we're aware of, or is there something esoterically where we can link them?
The idea of the boar goes back a long way, actually, and in fact, the constellations we call Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, the little bear, great bear, they were once the boar.
Right.
And an old word for boar was similar to the bear, and so it changed, and this whole story is about the battle the battle amongst people between which is supreme, the boar or the bear.
Yes.
And the boar came to represent spiritual truths, and the bear came to represent material truths.
Right.
And so the boar, the boar has always been important from that point of view.
Yeah.
But why it's a substitute?
For the bull.
Why it's a substitute for the bull, I'm not too sure really. But anyway, it was.
Yeah.
And when you come, and it's very similar in British Isles, because then the Druids, one of their names was the boar. They were.
Right. So again.
Yeah, and there's a story.
Epitomising the spiritual truth.
In the Celtic tradition, the story of the great goddess being the great white sow who flies overhead, and wherever she drops her litter, a mystery school grows up. Can you imagine?
Wonderful. Yes, it's like planting from on high.
Yes. And so, it caught the fancy of the Bacon family, because their symbol was the boar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when Francis Bacon was born or adopted into that family, he saw it was a pretty important symbol linking to the Druidic story. And Merlin's associated with the boar. King Arthur goes hunting the boar and something like that. And in fact, it's one way of seeing the land of Britain. That's Roman Britain, now England and Wales. You can actually see it's got the outline of a boar, where the boar's head is Wales.
Yes.
And that's how it was used. The British Celts living in Britain, the Druids there actually worked with that idea. So some of their myths are developed around the idea of searching for the apple of knowledge in the mouth. It was always put in the mouth of the boar. And in fact, that's how Christmas lunch was served up in the past. You know?
Yes.
It was you sacrificed a boar at Christmas. It represented the death of the winter, really, and the birth of the new. And first brought in on a platter was the boar's head with an apple in its mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
And the apple representing the truth.
Wonderful. We're kind of whizzing into the bardic mysteries, the Druidic mysteries, which is great, because we can see how, you know, the Eleusinian ones really link through to what was going in these lands, in these islands, and again, it's just a different expression of the same thing. But so when we're talking about apples, you know, apples play a part in the story of Adam and Eve, and we have apples coming into the Garden of the Hesperides in Greek myth.
Yeah.
And then we've got this apple in the boar's mouth. The symbolism of apples, how does that run through? Where are we getting that from?
It's a deep symbolism, really. Apparently the actual species of apple tree, trace it right back. Out of the same origin comes the rose.
Right.
So the rose and the rose pip, you know,
Yes.
is and an apple blossom and rose flower and so on. They're linked. You know, go back way back. They have the same origin, really. And also the other thing about apple, you know, the Garden of Eden, it's a symbol of knowledge, tree of knowledge. You eat the apple. Well, if you cut it one way, say vertically, you've actually got the form of, as your kundalini rises, it raises it raises energy and which bends round like that, circles round. So you've got this wonderful circulation, actually like angel wings.
Yes.
And that's represented by the apple, and the core is the heart.
Yeah, yeah.
If you cut it the other way, horizontally as it were, then you've got the five.
You have.
Of the core, the five petals, as it were, of the rose in there. So again, that's symbolising the heart.
Yeah.
And so the heart, the rose symbolises the heart of love. And it's a symbol of the human being, the true human being.
Yeah.
Because we're to fivefold geometry and so on. But also it's a symbol of love because it's associated with Eros in the Greek mythology and the Dionysian Mysteries. And it's a deep mystery. And Merlin, you know, in the British mysteries, Merlin is said to be sitting in the Hesperides, the orchard of apples, eating the apples. You know, he's gained all this knowledge, so he can sit in the Garden of Hesperides. And the Hesperides is another name for the Pleiades.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yes.
So in the old myth, the Pleiades were the daughters of Atlas, the king of Atlantis, who holds above the heavens and stands on the earth. So he holds apart the heavens and the earth.
Yeah.
And as long as he does that, there's manifestation.
Yes.
If he didn't do that, everything would come together and there'd be nothing.
Yeah.
You know. And but he's associated with Atlantis, and his daughters are the Pleiades. But after the flood, he dives down and rescues them and pulls them up on his shoulders, and they become the islands of the Hesperides, the Blessed Isles.
Yeah.
And these were associated with the British Isles in tradition. Gardens of the Hesperides.
The Garden of Hesperides is the British Isles.
It's the British Isles,
fantastic.
yes, with Merlin sitting there under all the apple trees.
And of course, apples and Avalon, that takes us towards King Arthur, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. Yes.
King Arthur, the Arthurian Mysteries.
Yes.
And all this is another part of the mysteries that Bacon and the Rosicrucians were working with, not just linked with, they were absolutely in it.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, King Arthur is famous for being the king of the Round Table. He had his queen, so it's also male and female. You know, the proper myth is king and queen, and every knight has his lady.
Yes.
So there were 24 seats around the Round Table, one for each one, you know, 12 for a knight and 12 for the lady.
Yeah.
Ladies, I mean, 12 knights, 12 ladies, and the centre was the place for the king and queen.
Yeah.
Although, of course, practically you couldn't do that, so you'd squeeze in on the outside. And the 13th seat, as it's called, is represented in the star system by the 13th sign is Ophiuchus.
Yes.
And Ophiuchus is the serpent holder, but he's also known as the master of the serpent.
Mm.
And another symbol of him is St. George and the dragon. He doesn't kill the dragon in that sense. He masters the dragon, which is his own Kundalini energy.
Yeah.
He becomes master of it.
Mm.
Therefore, he's shown symbolically holding it.
Yeah.
And the St. George figure is actually, he's shaking his spear of light that his mother, his flying mother's given him, who's Athena.
Yeah.
You know, goddess Athena. She's the 10th muse. Britannia.
Yes.
She gives him the spear of light, which he shakes against all the darkness and ignorance in himself in order to change it into something shining and bright. So he's rescuing himself, really.
Yes.
But then, once he is rescued, he becomes a true St. George. Then he goes and rescues others from their ignorance and vice and the darkness side.
So this symbolism, I mean, we've sort of galloped all over the place here. We've been in Greece and we've... No. I mean, I think this is absolutely wonderful because it just illustrates how all of this ties together. Because we've been in Greece and we're in, you know, sort of Britain and Arthurian and Merlin and apples and now we come to St. George, but it's all the same
thing. It's all the same, yes.
It's all the same thing.
Yes.
And I think that's when you start to learn the language and to understand the symbolism and understand the deeper currents that are within this, that's what you come back to. You keep coming back to the same point again and again. It doesn't matter which country you're in or what label you want to put on it.
No, and I've learned, I mean, I've done a wide research, of course, but one of the keys for me has been research into Bacon and the Rosicrucian fraternity at that time, because at one point he became the head of it, but it's said to be launched under that name in 1570, and then it developed its work quietly, and then made it public in 1604 onwards, when certain star things appeared. And the work they adopted, which is talked about in the manifestos, is Bacon's great inspiration, in fact.
Right.
It's just that. Because by that time Bacon had become the leader or president of the Rosicrucian Society, as it was called. And the Rosicrucians took their symbol as the rose and cross. That was the main symbols of St. George of England, you know, the patron saint of England.
Yes.
And their role was to fight the dragon of ignorance and vice, to try to train people in a better morality and to raise their consciousness, give them education, which they did a lot of that through drama, through theatre, and through the Queen's pageantry and so on that's put on. You know, the poets were all employed to create great drama for the general public and so on. It was their television of the day.
Yes, absolutely. Had to be a little more effort for it.
And it worked, because over that 50-year period, during the lifetime of Francis Bacon, basically, you had this huge rise in the whole culture. Wonderful books being written, drama being written, and so on.
It was a great flowering, wasn't it?
Great flowering of the English Renaissance, and then it dies down again. Once Bacon's gone, it all dies down. So, you know, Bacon was a key to that whole flowering. Because it wasn't just Bacon, he worked with others. But they worked as the Rosicrucian fraternity or society.
I'd love to explore the Rosicrucians a little more, because there's an awful lot there. So maybe we'll have another chat about the Rosicrucians. Can we just talk a little bit more about the Zodiac and the 13th sign, because that also links into the British Zodiac, where that falls in the British Zodiac, and how that is, what that tells us at the land level, as it were.
Yes, if you can imagine in your mind the Britain, that's England and Wales, and the British Zodiac, then you've got London marking a key point. It's where the main axis of the Zodiac was created by where the meridian of the Milky Way galaxy crosses the ecliptic, which it does in two places opposite on the circle of the ecliptic. And one of the cusps is Sagittarius Scorpio, and that's the cusp that London marks.
Right.
Basically, that's on that cusp.
Mm.
And if you look into the sky at that point in the sky, that's the closest you'll ever look into the heart of the Milky Way galaxy.
Right.
So symbolically, you're looking into the heart of the mother,
Mm.
the heart of matter, the heart of mother.
Mm.
The other cusp, where the meridian crosses the ecliptic on the other side of the circle, is the cusp of Gemini Taurus, and that's where the finger of Orion points to, also known as the finger of God.
Yeah.
And that point in the British Zodiac is a place called St Helens near Liverpool.
Right. Yeah.
So the main axis is between those 2 points, and all geometry is then laid out from that.
Mm.
Well, from London, if you go more or less north from London, you get to a place called St Albans, which is on the old Watling Streetway, the Brand route.
Yeah.
And that represents the right hand of Ophiuchus that holds the serpent.
Right. So.
And then you go a bit further north and east from that, and you get to Royston, which marks the heart of Ophiuchus, with the Royston Cave, which is linked with the Knights Templar. Because after the Templars were suppressed in England, a band of them stayed on working for 33 years, symbolic 33 years, doing ceremonies or whatever in that Royston Cave. And they left wonderful pictures of what they did, and then it was sealed. So that 33 is a key number of time. You know,
so again, we come back to the Templars actually being a part of this mystery as well.
The inner core of the Templars carried the wisdom.
Yeah.
That they were one of the mystery schools.
Yes. So yes, mystery schools are not dead. In fact, alive and kicking today.
The other interesting about the 13th sign, it's known as the seat of the heir to the throne.
Right. Okay. Yes. This ties into the round table as well, doesn't it?
Ties into the round table. So the king and queen are in the centre, but the prince, the heir, is waiting. He sits on the 13th seat, and it says it has a monster who will devour anyone who's not fit for it.
Yeah.
And so it means only the right person will be there who's fit to be a king. Everyone else gets eaten up or whatever. Anyway, so it's I find it fascinating because there is a strong story, which I think is right from my own researches, and that Francis Bacon is actually the unacknowledged son and heir of Queen Elizabeth I.
Oh, right, well,
and
that's definitely another chat, isn't it?
It is. Well, she asked Nicholas Bacon, who adopted him, to build the home Gorhambury at St Albans, which is this right hand of Ophiuchus, the 13th seat, you know.
Coincidence? Very definitely, what you're kind of hinting at there is that even in Tudor times there was a deep-seated understanding of this knowledge that wasn't for the general population at all, but certainly there was an elite who had this understanding and who used it.
Yes, there was an elite, and that doesn't just mean people with lots of money and titles. The elite were those who were intelligent enough to understand these things, and also devoted to leading as moral a life as they could. Yeah. So they were following the fundamental principles of the mystery schools, and the best way they could in those days. Yeah. And so they were doing a work of charity in the sense of giving of themselves to raise people's consciousness and so on, like that.
So to just to sort of finish it up, to bring it right up to date, mystery schools through the ages almost. Where might someone find it now? This real mystery, this impulse that's being kept alive. Or is it now? Things are so much more open now. Is it something that it's quite easy to find with?
It's far more available now. The things the things I'm saying now that would never be. People wouldn't dare say that. Yeah. Even 30 years ago, wouldn't dare say it publicly, or write these things down. But it's all coming out now in a much bigger way, because obviously people are much more ready for it and wanting to know, whereas before they didn't want to know.
Yeah, and we're at this point. There is a big shift in a big shift coming in, isn't there?
Yeah.
And so is it a part of that this openness?
Oh, I think so. It's because we're starting a new great age of approximately 26,000 years.
Yeah.
So the end of the old, beginning of the new. It's like a midwinter in the cycle of the year.
Yeah.
It's the darkest moment, but at the same time you've got the Christmas, which is the birth of the new spark, and you already see it happening worldwide in people.
Yes.
You know, this new spark, this. Well, Christians call it the Christ, but that's a Greek word from the Orphic Mysteries, the Christos, which is love.
Yes.
The spark of love, which affects your consciousness, and you really want to make a better world, not just for yourself, but for the whole world, the whole world population.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a big thing, and it's happening.
Yes, it's happening, and so the mystery schools, the ancient wisdom is alive and kicking, is what we're saying. And isn't that a joy?
and the darkest time we're in now is foreseen. It's foreseen by Jesus 2,000 years ago, talked about the end of the age. But it's foreseen also by Francis Bacon. He said, there will become this dark materialistic time. He hoped it wouldn't be too severe. But he and his Rosicrucian group preserved the wisdom they had at that time in books and so on, in cipher and whatnot, so it wouldn't be lost, and we could recover it now to help us in our new birth.
Yeah.
And so it's very valuable.
It is, incredibly, and we need people like you to start to translate it for us effectively. So on behalf of everyone watching, our thanks, Peter.
Thank you very much, sir.